Just let me check. Hello. Is it okay or still? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So let's start with this workflow. First, I would like to tell you about this SAP. SAP is a company which it's a Germany company which has provided a lot of modules to implement in the business. So in business, like it has provided modules like CRM, SCM, SD, MM. So all these modules can be implemented in the business to automate their business process and takes to carry out their business transaction effectively. So how this workflow has come into picture. So first I will tell you what does this workflow means. Workflow is nothing but a flow of work from one person to another person. So you can say that it is a sequence of connected steps or connected activities. So this SAP workflow is actually nothing but if there is any approval process required in a company, then this workflow comes into picture. So let me give you a very simple example. Suppose I'm the employee of a company and I just want a leave application to be approved by the manager. So what I will be doing, I will be just submitting one leave application to the manager of the company and would request him to approve the same. So first I would determine who is the manager of the company. Once I got his mail ID, I will drop one mail regarding the leave request, specifying the date and time, and would submit the request to the manager. So after 1 or 2 days, after few days, the manager looks into that request and he just take the action. What action he can take? He can either approve it or he can reject it, or he can tell me to correct the leave application. If it doesn't go with the manager, then I will be modifying that particular request and would again be submitting to the manager. At last, the request will get approved. So about this manual process of approval, here this workflow, what it has done, since this manual approval process takes long lead time, because you cannot guarantee how long it will take to approve the request. So here comes the leave request, but in business there comes a number of requests. Like suppose, let me give you one real-time example. Suppose one draft bill or one bill, whenever it get created, once it get approved, then only the invoice will get generated. So to generate the invoice, one approval process is required for that particular draft bill. So what happens, like if this approval process takes long time, long lead times, then the business would get stopped and you cannot complete the whole process in a specified time. So what this SAP has done, it has come up with a very good tool that is called SAP Business Workflow, and this is basically an automated tool to automate this manual process. So this workflow is actually automating this manual approval process. So everything whatever we are doing manually, it is actually integrated in a system. So everything will be defined in a system with a specific time, with a pre-planned time, with pre-planned steps. So nothing to worry about the time, how long it will take, who is going to approve the request, nothing. We don't have to care about anything. Only everything will be defined in the system and the system will take care of it. So this is the workflow about SAP Business Workflow and what role does it play in the business. So coming to the need of workflow, as I have already discussed that about the leave application. So coming up to the very simple example which has been presented over here. First, one purchase requisition request was dropped. This request was actually sent to the suppose manager of the company. So in second case, I will be determining actually who is going to approve this stuff. So first I have to determine who is the manager of the company. Then I will run to the manager and I will drop that particular mail to the manager of the company. And in the fourth step, you can see that the manager is already overloaded with lot of work, and so he won't able to see that particular request. So after 2 or 3 days, he just sees your request and he approves that particular request or takes the action for that particular request. So you can see that within the circle, from first step to the fifth step, it has taken long time. So since in a business we know that time is a major factor, so we cannot compromise with time. So that's the reason this workflow has come into picture. This automated tool has come into picture, which has actually automated this manual process. Coming up to the disadvantages of traditional paper-based workflow. So here, as we know that before we were before we were having this paper-based workflow, whatever we used to do in the paper. So I would first discuss the disadvantages. First, coming to the lack of transparency. Here, suppose the request is pending with manager and his name is ABC. So you cannot even come to know that with whom it's pending with. Suppose after manager it should go through the partner. So the manager has itself sent that particular mail to the partner, and here you are waiting knowing that the request would be pending with manager. So there is no system recorded status or track from where you can get to know that from where your request is there or with whom it is pending with. So there is no lack of, actually there is a lack of transparency. Then coming to long lead times, as I have already mentioned that this paper-based workflow or that is manual approval process takes long lead times. If it involves more than 3 people, then I think it will take more than 1 week to complete the request. Now coming to deadline monitoring, lack of deadline monitoring. So let me give you one example. Suppose you have delivered your request to the manager and the manager is already loaded with work, and he didn't even bothered about your request, and after suppose 7 days he just sees your request and he then take the action. But within that 7 days you were supposed to take the leave. So there is no pre-planned time or any deadline is there whether through which the manager would come to know that okay, I was supposed to take the action on this request. So this is the major disadvantage because of which this automated approval workflow has come into picture. Because since we know that in SAP in every business you just have some time frame within which the manager or the main approver has to take the action. So in the automated tool, what we used to do, we used to define the timeline within which the approver will have to take the action. But in manual approval process, we cannot do that. So this disadvantage was covered with, in fact, overcome with this automated tool of workflow. Now coming to each lacks a way to trace where a task is. It's similar to determine, like there is no system status record where the task is and with whom it is pending with. You cannot trace it. Then coming to who executed or is executing it. So that's also the same. You cannot come to know who has taken the action and who is going to take the action next. So nothing is being defined. So you will again have to ask manually after the manager, once manager has approved that with whom now I should approve or with whom it should go with approval process. Everything you have to determine it manually. Now coming to how much time it requires. So even you can determine by yourself that how long it's going to take to complete the approval process. So all these disadvantages was covered by this automated tool of workflow, and this manual process has actually we don't follow this manual process anymore. Rather, this automated tool is followed in the company. Now coming to what is SAP workflow. So first let me tell you that what is actually this SAP workflow, why it helps you, how it actually overcome this disadvantages of traditional paper-based workflow. So here it's written, right work is assigned in the right sequence at the right time to the right person in the workflow. So first let me discuss about each parts and pieces of this particular statement. First, coming to right work. So right work means, like suppose one, let me give you one example. Suppose one sales order is created and that sales order or the draft bill should go through the approval process. So you can just ensure from this automated tool that okay, you are sending the right work to the person. So the right work can be guaranteed by this automated tool. Then coming to the right sequence. Suppose in a company, the draft bill should go through the approval process first through the manager of the company. Then once he approves, then it should go through the partner of the company. And when partner approves, then it should go to the DFM of the company. So the sequence is defined in the system. So whatever the sequence, it has been defined in the system. So the right sequence can also be guaranteed through this automated tool. Then coming to the right time. So right time means suppose within 3 days the manager has to approve that particular request and then it should go to the partner. So the 3 days is defined in the system. This pre-plan, this deadline, this timeline is actually defined in the system. Now coming to the right person. So right person, suppose ABC is the manager of the company. So I just want that ABC should only approve this particular request. So you can just ensure from this automated tool that you are sending the approval process to the right person. So this four right things would be covered or ensured or guaranteed by the automated workflow tool. So any question till this? I'm sorry, I was disconnected. I'm really sorry for that. Yeah, so let me take some questions. Yes, Samba?
No, it's what I pinged you because voice was not coming.
Okay, so now it's audible?
Yeah, audible.
Okay, sorry, actually I got disconnected for some 1 minute or few minutes. Sorry for that. So any other questions till this? Fine. So let me proceed. Now coming to why SAP workflow and their advantages. So if you are facing any problem with the mic or with the screen, please let me know so that I can take care of that. I just don't want that you are not able to listen anything or the voice is breaking. So here, why SAP workflow and their advantages. When different people are involved in different parts of the process, like here what I am discussing is when you are going to implement this workflow, this automated tool provided by SAP. So when you come to know that okay, within this approval process, different people are going to take the action and in a different sequence. So what you will be doing when you come to know that okay, first manager is also involved, this here partner is also involved, so then only you can just take the help of this SAP workflow. Next, when the user needs to be reminded of what they need to do. So what does it mean is, suppose I'm the manager of the company and I have received one request and for 3 days it's lying with me. So one reminder mail would be sent once this 3 days gets expired. The reminder mail would be sent to me that you have to approve this request, you have to approve this request. So that reminder mail would be again configured or would be again defined in the system so that I would be again reminded of what I need to do. Then coming to what's the duration of when the duration of the process is critical and deadline have to be met. So this I hope you all have understood till now, because about this deadline, about this duration I have already discussed. Now coming to the advantages. So as long as I have mentioned that this workflow is a tool for automation of this business process, so it has actually automated the manual approval process. Then it is not tied up to any particular application, as let me discuss in more detail about it. Suppose in SAP we already have this SAP this SCM, CRM, SD, ER, ECC. So here this SAP workflow actually comes inbuilt in all the application. We don't have to install it independently. So in only, but yes, we have to configure something which is actually done by basis people. We don't do it, but yeah, before developing the workflow or giving the support, we have to ensure that all the prerequisite configuration is done. So it actually comes with all the modules, and by default SAP has given it. So it is not that it has been tied up with any particular application, rather you have the flexibility to develop the workflow in any of the application. Also you can just operate it uniformly across applications. Suppose you want to send or you want to call one workflow which is present in ECC from CRM. So what we can do, we can just take the help of RFC and we can call the workflow which is present in ECC. It means we have developed the workflow in ECC and we are calling that workflow from CRM. So this means that we can actually operate it across application. Now coming to coordinate all participating tasks. Since we in this workflow, whenever we define the workflow, it actually coordinate all the tasks which is present in the workflow. Let me give you one example. Suppose one vendor is created or suppose one sales order is created, it gets created in the draft mode. So only after the approval process is completed, you have to convert it or change the status to the open. So what I can do is I can define in the workflow that okay, once the approval process is completed, I will be taking the help of one task where I will be just providing the sales order number and it will be just converting that sales order number status to the open. So all these participating tasks are coordinated with the help of this SAP workflow. Now coming to the next, provide users with active support. It actually you can it means that you can actually trace where the workflow is, where the workflow is lying with, how long it will take to approve the request. So everything you can just trace with the help of this workflow, SAP workflow. Next, not the last, is the deadline management is possible. So this deadline has already been discussed. Along with all these advantages, let me discuss some few more, and that is in SAP workflow. Suppose the manager of the company goes into leave and he just has taken 2 days leave. So all the work items or all the requests pending in his inbox will actually be delegated to the other person who the manager wish to. Suppose I wish that, okay, I'm ABC, and I wish that once I go into leave, then XYZ should approve all the requests pending in my inbox. So I will just delegate my inbox, or I will just delegate my job to the other person. So now other person can take the action on my behalf. So you can take, like, this is the major advantage of this workflow, SAP workflow, so in which you can actually delegate the job. And if you're out of office, then anyone else can take the action on your behalf. Next, another advantage is, it actually, this SAP workflow doesn't tie up the request with the person. Actually, it ties up the particular request with the position present in the company. Let me give you one example. Suppose the request, like XYZ was supposed to approve the request, and XYZ leaves the company. So now again I will have to determine who is the another new manager of the company. Suppose ABC comes, and then again I will have to drop the mail to ABC. But in SAP workflow, you don't have to do this. You will be tying up your request with the position of the company. So whoever is present in that position will take the action. So this actually is one of the advantages. So I have discussed number of advantages, because of which this SAP workflow has come into picture. Now coming to how does SAP workflow work? So this is the big question in everyone's mind, like how does this SAP workflow actually works? So whenever this workflow runs, it actually creates a work item, and when any operational user executes the work item, the underlying tasks get executed with correct data. Let me first show you where you will be receiving this particular request. It is similar to Gmail, Outlook, where you will be receiving the messages. So first, going to the inbox of SAP, the transaction is SBWP. So the inbox which is being provided by SAP is this business workplace. It is similar to what we have in Gmail and Outlook. In left panel, you can see we have inbox, we have outbox, we have resubmission, private folders, all these tabs. So now coming to first the inbox. In inbox, you can see we have documents tab and we have workflow tab. So first, in documents tab, what we will be receiving is the notification messages. What we receive in Gmail, like all the messages where you just get the information about something, or somebody has sent you some mail. So in documents tab, we will be receiving all the messages and the notification. And in the workflow tab, I will be receiving the work items. I will be discussing in detail what does this work item means. So here in workflow tab, we are having this work item. Work item means in work item or the request, we have to take some action. It means that, let me double click on it. You can see here. In this screen, you can see we are having two buttons. First one is approve and the second one is cancel and keep work item in inbox. So this approve button is actually defined in the workflow. So whatever action you will be defining in the workflow, we will be getting all those action displayed over here. And this cancel and keep work item in inbox is the default button which is provided by the SAP. So here you can see the buttons are there. It means the action is being present over here. So either I can approve the request, or I can just cancel and keep it in the inbox. So these are the action which I can take. So in work items, the action is being taken. So once I take the action on this particular request, the work item will get disappear from the inbox automatically. So I don't have to manually delete it. Rather, once I take the action, it will automatically get disappear from my inbox. And in the documents tab, in this particular notification messages, when I double click on it, I will be just getting the information. Nothing, no action is present over here. So it is similar to the messages which we get in Gmail or Outlook. So, but once I look into these messages, it won't get disappear automatically from the inbox. If I want to delete it, I will have to delete it manually from the button present over here with taking help of this particular button. So, but in the work item which are present in the workflow tab, here we have to take some action. So these are the differences between the work items and the notification messages. So whenever the workflow gets defined, the two type of request you can get. First one is called the work item and the second one is the notification messages. So here this is called the business workplace. Now, as I was discussing about the work items, so let me take you to the SWDD, that is the workflow builder. Here we actually define the workflow. I will be discussing in more detail about all the panels present over here. So let me first discuss you what actually work item means. So suppose this is the workflow builder. In the graphical model, you can see we are having workflow started and workflow completed. Two blocks are present over here, and whatever we define in between these two blocks. So whatever steps is being defined, it is defined within these two blocks. So once suppose this particular user decision step has been defined, in the left corner below in bottom you can see many steps are available with the help of which you can define the workflows. So here this particular user decision step has been defined, and when you double click on it, you can see the title is present, that is test demo, which was actually appearing in the subject line of the inbox as let me show you again so that you can just map it. So going to the workflow tab, here you can see the test demo. This particular title line was appearing over here as a subject line. So this is a test demo. In expression, we have the agents who would be receiving this particular item. So in expression, you can see it is being selected as workflow initiator. So this means that I myself would be receiving this work item because I have initiated this workflow. So the person who actually initiate this workflow receives this particular work item. So in expression, you can see number of options are available. First one is role, then it's rule, then organizational unit, job, position, work center, user, expression. So taking the help of all this, you can just determine who are the agents who would be receiving this particular work items. So all this would be discussed in regular classes one by one with the help of example. So here for time being, I'm just discussing about this workflow initiator, who is the person who has actually initiated this workflow will receive the work items. Now coming to the decision text, you can see here that one decision has been defined, that is approve. So here in SBWP, once you double click on it, this test demo, you can see one action that is called approve is there, and the next one is given by default. So whatever action you define in this workflow builder will get appeared in the inbox. So if I define more reject, suppose I am defining reject, then that particular reject button will also get appear in the inbox. So now coming to the control tab, you can see here that one task is present. So this particular task, whenever since we have defined one step first, that is user decision step, so whenever that step gets executed, this particular task gets executed. So you can see here it has the abbreviation as TS, which means that it is a standard task. It is just one abbreviation, and then rest is the task number. So this particular task can be executed in background or in a foreground. So if this particular task is executed in foreground, then that means that some user interaction is necessary or mandatory for that particular request. So if So let me take you to this background processing and foreground. You just double click on that task. Here in the left corner you can see one checkbox is present, that is called background processing. So if you check this, then this particular request will be executed in background, and if you don't check it, then this particular request will be executed in foreground. So in foreground means some user interaction is necessary for this particular request, and the rest everything would be discussed in detail in regular classes. So just I'm just trying to explain you step by step. So first I have discussed that task. Now you can see here that in object category we are having two type of object category present. First one is ABAP class and the second one is BOR. So this object category, we are having this object type as decision and the method as process. So let me take you to this object type. What happens whenever one step get executed, this task get executed, and whenever this task get executed, the underlying business object or the object category get executed. So since we have defined method, that is called process, of this particular object type, that is called decision, will actually get executed. So just select this process and go to the program. All the code present over here will get executed. So when what happens, ultimately some code get executed whenever, see, workflow is basically a tool. You will be defining all the steps. It's similar to, very much similar to flow chart. So you have just defined the step, and whenever you execute that particular workflow, the steps will get executed, then the underlying task will get executed, then the underlying business object method get executed. So only there is a like flow. There is a sequence. First workflow step, then tasks, then method. So you can just see, I will be discussing more in detail about this business object, this method, what is this business object, and how to tag this business object with this like step. Everything would be discussed in detail. Now coming next to this particular PowerPoint presentation. So here you can see it's written whenever workflow runs, it creates a work item. So as I have already told you that whenever you execute the workflow, the work item gets created. So whenever one task gets executed, the work item gets generated. So that work item can be dialog work item. It means some user interaction is there. It can be background work item. It means that it has been executed in background. So I will be discussing in detail about how many types of work item are there and what are their roles and how it gets generated. So you just try to understand that whenever one task gets executed, the work item gets created, and any of the operational user can execute the work item. So whenever this work item is executed, the task get executed. It means the method whichever is defined in the business object gets executed. So as for the second point, I have already discussed that whenever you execute that particular work item, it will get automatically disappear from the inbox. You don't have to manually delete it. Then this work item can also be received in SBWP, as I have already shown you how it is received. It is the inbox of SAP provided by SAP, and it's not like it only can be received in SBWP. Rather, you can also receive this work item which is being generated in SAP in your Lotus Notes in MS Outlook. So you can even do this extended notification. So you can just send these mails, these particular work items to the another inbox also. So these are the facilities which are provided by this SAP Business Workflow. Now coming to business workplace, as I have already shown you about this business workplace, it is actually a work area that that any SAP user can carry out their day-to-day business activities or processes. So This business workplace is a place where you will be receiving your work items, your messages, your notifications. So let me show you again. So this is the business workplace, where in left panel you have inbox, outbox. In the right panel there is a request where you will be taking the action, and in documents tab all the notification messages are present where you will get the information. So this particular business workplace is nothing but a work area where you will be carrying out the day-to-day business activities. Now what is this work item? So here you can see it is being defined as a work item is a runtime request of a task in real time. So let me explain you. Coming to this workflow builder, here you can see this particular workflow is being defined. So here we are having one task and then one send mail step. So this particular, suppose I just execute this particular workflow with the help of this test button. So whenever I execute it, this particular task will get executed, and whenever this task get executed in runtime, one work item gets generated. So this task is a static part and that work item is a dynamic part. So that this task is like whenever it gets executed in runtime, one work item gets generated which get placed in the inbox of the user. So that in business workplace, whatever is present in the workflow tab, these all are called the dialog work items. So dialog work item means that user has to take some action on this particular work items. So this is all total about business workplace and work item. So more about work item would be discussed in detail in regular classes. So do you have any questions till this? Anytime you have a question, you can just raise your hand. Now coming to the technical principles. The definition and execution of workflow, it can be actually divided into four main areas, and the first one is business workplace. As I have already discussed, this business workplace is nothing but a work area where you will be taking the action. Then coming to workflow builder, it's a place where you will be developing the workflow, where you will be defining the workflow and will be executing the workflows. So whenever the workflow get executed, the task whichever is defined is will get executed, and the underlying task will get executed, and then the business object method will get executed. Then coming to this task, as I have already shown you that task which was defined in this workflow builder, when you double click on this particular step, you can see one task number is present over here, that is TS000867. So this particular task has some step name and we have some properties of this particular task. So all these properties would be discussed in detail in regular classes. So just remember that just for timing, like whenever one task get executed, whenever one step get executed, this particular task get executed. Then coming to BOR. So what is this BOR? When you just double click on this particular task, you can see here one object category called BOR. So we have an object type and the method. So we define this method and this object type which is associated with this method will actually get executed whenever that task get executed. So let me discuss more about this BOR. This BOR is nothing but a repository or the container which contains the application data. So the transaction to go to this BOR is SWO1. Let me open this transaction so that you can in this SWO1, let me take the help of one business object, suppose BUS 2032. So this business object is actually associated with a sales order. So this business object, we have interfaces, key fields, attributes, methods, events. So here coming to the method, suppose one display method. So here, suppose in key fields, I have sales order number 6127. So whenever I give this sales order number and call this display method, what will happen? This particular sales order will get displayed. So this is nothing but the functionalities which is available in the form of methods. So all the functionalities are actually accumulated in this methods, and you just give one key field which will be actually unique. So providing this key field and calling the method will actually execute some functionality. So all the functionalities is actually encapsulated in the form of business object. So all the sales order, suppose sales order, whenever it gets created or displayed, or if you want to edit it, so all the functionalities are actually you can just tell it is modularized and is actually accumulated in the form of business objects. So the repository of seeing all these business object is BAPI. Going to the transaction BAPI, you can see over here number of business objects are available. Once we release this business object, you can actually, this is a standard business object. You can also create your custom business object and can release it. Then it will get available over in here in BAPI. So let me show you one business object. Suppose sales and distribution. Suppose sales order. You can see here object type BUS2032. So it is released. So that's the reason it is available over here. So anybody, any outside program can actually take the help of the methods which is present over in this business object. So in SWDD, where we were defining all these business object methods, so here you can see we are having this ABAP class, also we are having this business object type. So you can take the help of standard business object, or you can even create the custom business object and call that particular method, and either you can have this ABAP class as well. So suppose I'm just giving you an example, like let me make it more clear. Going to this particular definition, suppose this user decision step is present, you create one sales order, and that particular sales order is created, and you just trigger one workflow. This workflow gets triggered, and this particular user decision steps get executed. So you just define the agents who will be receiving this work items, and the agent, any one of the agent will approve that particular request. So once this request is approved, in the next step you will be writing some code which will actually change the status of the sales order from draft to open. So you just you need some area where you will be writing some code. So to get that area, you just take the help of the business object methods, or you take the help of ABAP class method. So just to write that code to change the status of the sales order, you will be writing that code in the method, and you will be just associating that method with this particular step. So that's what we will be doing, and with the help of this business object. So to carry out the functionalities, we will be taking the help of this business object or the ABAP class. So in more detail, this about this ABAP class and about this BOR, this custom BOR, everything will be discussed in regular classes, because it itself is a 1.5 hour class. Now coming to the presentation. Till this, any doubt about this association and business object and anything else? Now coming to the layers of workflow architecture, there are actually 3 layers which are present in workflow architecture. First one is the organization model, second one is business process, and third one is business objects. So let me discuss one by one. First one is organization level. What does it mean? First, we define who is actually going to approve your request. So in organization, in business, we actually, this organizational management is done by HR people, the human resource people. So they first define, okay, first one is the CEO of the company, then comes the next vice president of the company, then comes the employees of the company. So all are being defined in the organization, and you just figure out who will be the person who will be executing the request. So this determination is done at the organizational level, because in organization, in HR, people only define who are, or who all are the manager of the company. So you just take the help of this levels, and will actually associate this particular roles or the position with the work items. So as I have already shown you in workflow builder, suppose this is a particular step which get executed, you want that manager of the company should receive this particular work item. So in expression tab, you can just map the position. Suppose we have one ABC position, and where number of employees are present over there, and ABC is, suppose, is the managerial position. So you just click on this position and you just give ABC. So all the employees who are having this position or who are holding this position will receive this particular work items. So it's very simple. We just need to tag this position, and this position is actually defined at the organizational level, but you don't have to worry about it. Actually these things are done by HR people, but again I will be showing you how to create the position, how to create job, how to create work center, everything, so that even if the HR people they do some mistake, or you don't have to depend upon them. You can just debug it, if anything goes wrong, if you know everything in detail. So these all things will be definitely will be discussed in regular classes. Now coming to the process level. This process level is the steps where we actually define the process. So as I have already discussed that once suppose one sales order is created, and once it get approved, you have to convert it into the open status. So this is actually a process, so you define it in the steps. So here in SWDD, whatever we define, here in SWDD, whatever we define with the help of this steps. So steps in the left panel, you can see we are having number of steps. So we can take the help of all these steps and we can define our workflow. So these are nothing but a process levels. Now coming to the business object level. So as I have already discussed that this particular steps contains the task, and whenever this task get executed, this BOR methods get executed. So the underlying code get executed. So this are the particular this is actually the architecture of workflow. Now coming to the workflow builder. So workflow builder where is a place where we will be developing our workflows, where we will be defining the workflows. So let me discuss about this workflow builder. Coming to the transaction SWDD. First, in the left area, you can see one information area tab. In information area, we have some few fields. First one is workflow, next one is version, and third one is status. So in workflow field, you can see first two digit, that is WS, is the abbreviation which implies that it is a workflow template. Because in task I have shown you that it is TS, it means it's a standard task, and in WS implies it's a workflow template. Next, its rest is the 8 digit 3 4 5 6 7 8. It's a 8 digit number which gets generated automatically and which is provided by the system once you save your workflow. So you don't have to give this number manually. Only once you save the workflow, once you define workflow, and once you click on save, this workflow number will get generated automatically. But out of this 8 digit, the first 3 digit is being defined or configured by the basis people. So this particular configuration, this prefix number is actually client dependent. So we have to configure this particular prefix number in each client, because suppose if I want to transport this particular workflow to other client and the same workflow number exists in different client, then that particular then that just give me a second. Sorry. So whenever this particular you just define, whenever this particular workflow gets transported to another system, then that particular workflow number, if the same workflow number exists in another system, then this workflow will get overwritten by that particular workflow. So this workflow number should be unique in each client, and where we configure it is going to the transaction SWU3. Here we actually do all the configuration related to the workflow. So in maintain runtime environment, all this will be discussed in regular classes. I'm just showing you how to maintain the prefix number. So here you can see maintain prefix number. This is a place where we will be maintaining the prefix number. So here you can see once I execute it, we are having this 979. So you can see for the 800 client, for the local object package, it's given 979. So in SWDD, you can see the prefix number is 979. So this particular number is actually configured in the client, in each client, and this rest 5-digit number gets automatically generated by the system. Next, coming to the version, this is the first version which I have modified this particular workflow. So when I do it, once I transport it, and again if I modify it, then it will get saved in a new version. Then coming to the status, since once you save it, it will show that saved, and once you activate it, it will show activated. So if you activate it, now coming to the status, you can see it is active and saved. Next, coming to the navigation area, it actually displays all the steps which are being defined in the workflow builder. So since I have defined 2 steps, first one is user decision step and the second one is send mail step. So here 2 steps are being defined in the navigation area. Then you can see in the left corner we are having step types. So taking the help of all the steps types, you can actually define the workflow. We are having this activity, web activity, send mail. So this send mail step will actually send the mail, and we are having user decision, condition, loop while, which is similar to the ABAP loop while. So all these steps will be discussed in detail with the help of example in the regular classes. And this is the graphical model which actually shows you where you will be just defining your workflow, and it is very similar to flowchart. You only have to know the business process, and you will have to only know the like steps which will actually get executed. So once you know that step, once the designing is complete, it's very easy to design the workflow. Only you need to know the like sequence of steps which should be followed, then you can design your workflow. Next, this workflow definition steps, as these steps can be divided into 2 categories. First one is business activity and the second one is internal process control. So in this business activity, we are having this task reference, user decision, document with template, web activity. And in internet process control, we have condition, multiple condition, loop, while. So all these steps will be discussed in detail in regular classes, and with this taking the help of all these steps, we actually design our workflow. So now coming to the example of the workflow, I will be developing one workflow. So let me create one workflow so that you can get more clear picture of the workflow. Go to this create button which is present over here. So you can see two blocks are made available. First one is workflow started and the second one is workflow completed. So within these two blocks, I am going to define the workflow. So what's my requirement is, I just want to receive one work item in the inbox of my inbox. So here right click on it, click on create, select the step that is called user decision step. It actually whenever it gets executed, it actually creates one dialog work item. So just select it, give the title. This title will appear as a subject line. In expression, select workflow initiator because I want to receive this particular workflow. Give to decision. So I am providing two decision. First one is approve and the second one is reject. Click on this enter. And now here in the left side you can see no workflow number is being generated. So once you click on save, give the abbreviation name, because through this abbreviation only you can come to know the workflow which you have developed, because this workflow is very like whenever you search for the workflow through this abbreviation only you can come to know. So give the valid abbreviation name so that later when you search you can find it out. Now you can see the workflow number is being generated automatically with the prefix 979. Now you activate it. So here you can see our decision step is being generated, and we have two branches because we have defined there two branches. First one is approve and the second one is reject. So here you can, once you give the cursor, place the cursor, you can see approve. So it means that in this branching, if you want that if you want anything you want to do, suppose I want to change the status of the particular sales order, and in suppose reject I want to send that mail again, so you can just define your steps accordingly only. So suppose I want to create one mail step once the this particular decisions this particular work item is executed. I want to send one mail saying approved. It is similar to what we have subject and body line which we have in Gmail messages. And suppose reject, again one mail. Let the user know that what action has been taken. So saying it is rejected. Save it as local object and then activate it. So our workflow is now ready. First the user decision step is being there. Now next we are having approve and reject. So what I am going to do is I will be executing this particular workflow. So click on this test. This is a manual way to execute the workflow, but there are a number of ways to actually trigger the workflow in business scenarios. First one is taking the help of this standard function modules, that is SWU underscore start underscore workflow. Else you can trigger the workflow with the help of event. Taking the help of event also you can just take the help of standard event or the custom event, and you can just trigger the workflow. So I will be showing you another method of how to trigger the workflow. Let me execute this. Just click on this execute and click on this cross button. Now going to the business workplace, directly from here you can see one button is there. I'm moving on to the inbox. Now in the inbox you can see workflow tab. Just click on that workflow tab. You would be able to see the first work item which has been generated. You can see first workflow. Since we have defined in the workflow builder first workflow as a title, you double click on it. You would be able to see two buttons, in fact three buttons. First one is approve, second one is reject. These two are being defined by us, and the third one is actually defined by the system. So these particular buttons are made available, so I can take the action. Whatever action I will be taking, it will actually execute the henceforth defined step. So is there any guesses, like what if I do if I click on this approve? What will be done, like what I have defined in the system? If I click on this approve, any guesses? Since in the system I have defined to send one mail to once this approve is being selected, then that particular mail step will be executed. So once you click on this approve, let me show you here in SWDD. First you see that the particular work item has got disappeared from the inbox of the user because I have taken the action. So it has got disappeared automatically. I haven't deleted it manually, rather I have only taken the action. So going to the business, this workflow builder, you can see that I have taken the action as approve. So now whatever which is defined in the system is that this particular mail will be sent to the user. So let me take you to the workflow log, that is called SWIA. So actually this workflow cannot be debugged similar to a BAP. We cannot debug it like a BAP. In fact, we can debug it only through this SWIA, and many transactions are made available through which we can debug the workflows. So developing workflow is very easy, but debugging the same is a little bit difficult. So I will be discussing everything, like how to do the administrative part, how to debug the workflow, how to resolve the tickets, and what problems you can face in real time, and how to fix the same. So no worry about it, but yes, this debugging is difficult in case of workflow. So let me give you some brief overview on how to debug the workflow. Go to the transaction SWIA. This is a place where you will be seeing the log present. Whatever workflow get executed here, all the log, all the status record gets displayed over here. So just click on the seeing your first work item text. You can see that it is first workflow. Double click on it. Go to the log and then go to this table button and click Control P, keeping the caps lock off. So you can see here, this is a technical overview, technical details of the particular workflow which has got executed. You can see first one is the first workflow, and then workflow started, approve, and then mail sent. So this mail was actually sent, and that is an approved mail. So I have taken the action approved and the mail has been sent. So you can just see on clicking on this container button, you can see here the description is showing approved. So this approved mail was actually sent once the approved action was taken. So let me show you once again. Let me execute this particular workflow once again. So going to the log, go back, then again execute it, and then double click. This first one is a recent one. So go to the execute. I'm sorry. Go to the log. Actually, I was supposed to show you the log. I will be discussing details about this log in regular classes, like all the views. I'm just showing you how you can determine with whom the particular work item is pending with. Just click on this agents and you can see it is pending with me. So the name will get appear over here. So from this you can determine the agents with whom the workflow or the work item is pending. So this is the particular workflow log where you can see all the details, everything you can find out from this workflow log. So this was the manual process of triggering the workflow. Next I will be, till this any question, because next I will be showing you how you can trigger the workflow with the help of function modules. If you have any doubt till this. So next, coming to SE38, here I will be developing one program. Suppose you have developed one custom application and you want to trigger the workflow from that application. So you can just take the help of this function module which I will be showing you, and you can just trigger the workflow. So the function module which is made available to trigger the workflow is SW start workflow. Just call this particular workflow, and in the task you will be giving the task this workflow number. So just copy this workflow number and go to that particular program and give the workflow number in the task. Now in user, give uname, and in importing I will be receiving the work item ID, because whenever this task get executed, one work item ID gets generated, and this work item ID is nothing but the dialog work item ID. So this is the runtime unique number which gets generated, which actually ensures you that the workflow has got started successfully. So what I will be doing, I will be just capturing this particular work item ID so that I can ensure that the workflow has got executed successfully, and providing this attachment since this is a mandatory one. Now I will be declaring all the parameters. Take the type from the function, copy this type, so here I am just displaying the work item so that I can ensure that particular work item is being generated. It means that the workflow has got triggered successfully. So now I will be executing this particular program. So you can see here the work item is being generated. Just copy this particular work item and go to the log, that is SWIA, and just paste this particular work item into the identification tab and click on execute. So you can just see the log, means everything about that particular workflow. So double click on it, go to the table button and control P. Then you can see the workflow is being started, and the particular work item is lying with me. So I can go to the business workplace and can see particular work item. Go to the inbox in the workflow tab. You can see here the work item called first workflow is present over here. So this is how you can just trigger the workflow with the help of function module, that is standard function module. Also you can take the help of events, in SWO1 you can see that many events are associated with this standard business objects. So suppose one sales order is created and you want that particular sales order should go through some approval process. So you can see here in business object BUS2032 one event is present over here, that is called created, changed, say deleted. So whenever one sales order is created, you can capture this particular event in the workflow and can trigger the workflow. Also you can take the help of this function module. Suppose at user exit you want to trigger this particular workflow. So at user exit you can call that a standard function module which I have shown you and can trigger the workflow. So where you can do is in package vmod, in includes, I'm just showing you how like the places where you can just trigger the workflow with the help of either you can take the help of function module or you can just take the help of events. Also you can build your own custom business objects. So here let me place the debugger. So once I create or change the standard order, the debugger will get placed over here. So from there you can just call the particular function module SWU start workflow, then it will actually and just give the task number, that is workflow template number, then that will trigger the workflow. Here you can see the debugger has stopped in user exit save document prepare. So just below that you can see we can just include one, it is already written that includes the demo exit. So you can just include one custom include, and within that you can just call that particular function module. So everything about this in detail I will be showing in regular classes how to do that. So this is the place where you can just trigger the workflow. So I have just discussed about what does this workflow means and what role does it play in business process, how to trigger the workflow, how to build the workflow, and what is the work item, what is the messages, and what actually action you can take, everything. So I think I have given a clear picture of this workflow. If there is any question, I'm ready to take that. So if any question, please raise your hand. So I have come to an end of this particular workflow demo class. So if you have any queries regarding this classes, this particular timings, the timing would be 7 to 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday, and every details you will be getting after this class, and the mail will be sent to all of you, and you can just place the feedback, or you can just go with your queries and everything will be answered. So thank you. See you from Monday.